Hello students, good evening all. Welcome back to the daily news analysis. I hope you all are doing great. So we are live streaming the news of 11th of May 2022 with your educator Prithviraj Singh Chauhan. So let us begin with the front page of the Hindu. Now there was a news article about the sedition case, right? You all know guys, and we have been discussing it for the past few days, that sedition law is under consideration and the government has set up a review committee to actually review the sedition law. We all know sedition is any act or any act which is either spoken or in written form which results into or which incites violence against the government or which results into hatred against the government is called as sedition. Now this was a colonial law passed in the year 1873, by Thomas Macaulay. It was being proposed by Thomas Macaulay, a British jurist and British officer, Lord Macaulay, and then it was later being incorporated in 1860 IPC, Indian Penal Code. We all know that sedition is being mentioned under section 124A of IPC, and which is we are tracking the story for the past few days, and I strongly expect a question on this because the government is reviewing sedition law. Why? The reason is that it has been misused, abused, in many cases by the government, right? Because sedition law under section 124A says that any act which results into incitement of violence or hatred against the government the person would be booked under the sedition law, for which the minimum imprisonment is 3 years, right? This we have discussed, 3 years till life plus penalty, right? The fees, correct? And it is non-bailable. It is non-bailable, correct? Now this act was being used by the British officers in those days to curb the hatred or curb the writings of various Indian revolutionaries against the British Raj. So many Indian political leaders like Gandhi, Nehru, they were all booked under sedition law. Now we have seen that in many cases it has been misused by the government, and as many advocates of the Supreme Court like Kapil Sibal, they are saying that it is being used by the government to curb the dissent. Now students, we must understand that in a democracy dissent is very important. You must be critical of the government, right? And as a citizen, as an aware citizenry, you have to analyze and assess the policies of the government, and you can do so only when there is a conducive environment where you can express your views, right? But if your views are being challenged, are being you are being slapped with the charges of sedition, then there is no point of freedom of speech and expression as mentioned under Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A, freedom of speech and expression. Now the government has said that the act is under review, the Sedition Act is under review, and now the court is actually deliberating on the aspect that when the sedition law is under review, then what would happen to those who are accused under the sedition law or those who are being booked under the sedition law? Will they get protection? So this is the question that is being put forth by Supreme Court, that what would happen to those people who are being booked under the sedition law? Will they get any protection under by the court? So the court has given 24 hours for response from the center, right? Now I hope you're getting my point. That means what would happen to those who are being booked under sedition law at the time when the government is reviewing section 124A of IPC. Now we are breaking the story live guys, and I tracked the story at 1 PM today that sedition law has been stayed until review. Now it is a very big development coming up. Supreme Court has clearly said that the sedition law has been put under stay until the government comes up with its review, right? That means the Supreme Court has directed the governments, the central government, that don't use law don't use sedition law until the review is over, correct? And all the parties which are being charged with the sedition law can apply for bail. Now in our discussion I mentioned that this law is, the person who is being convicted of sedition law is non-bailable. That means he cannot ask for bail, correct? Although it depends on the discretion of the judge, but then he himself cannot apply for the bail. Now Supreme Court today at 1 p.m. has clearly said that the parties who are charged with sedition can apply for bail, right? Because the government is actually reviewing or considering sedition law, so therefore the sedition law has been put to stay, and the center can direct the state governments to prevent the misuse, because it has been seen that many state governments have actually, because of by their police authorities or their administrative machinery, they are misusing the law, and the center has directed the states, or can direct the states to prevent any misuse further, right? So very big development we are breaking here at the institute, correct? Now the article also explored the same thing. There are cases which are already pending, what would happen, but then we have come up with the recent development that all such cases would be put to a stay until the review is being done. I hope it is clear. Very important aspect, sedition hearing, and a very important case which was being concluded by the Supreme Court in the year 1962, correct? So almost 60-year-old case, Kedarnath versus State of Bihar. In this, the Supreme Court clearly said, and it was a constitution bench case, a 5-judge bench case, where the Supreme Court upheld the validity of section 124A. At the same time, they limited its use, saying that it can be used only when any act, either spoken or written, results into incitement of violence against the government, correct? Or it results into disturbance of the public order, or the disturbance of the public peace. So only for 3 instances, the 3 situations, the sedition law would be used, right? So in this sense, Kedarnath versus State of Bihar was a very important landmark judgment on sedition law, right, on section 124A by Supreme Court in the year 1962, where Supreme Court upheld the validity of section 124A, but then limited its use. But then we have seen that in many cases the government has, the executive has misused section 124A. So the details, as I mentioned, that it is non-bailable, so on and so forth, correct? Or even the UK has actually abolished the sedition law. We'll see, we'll wait and watch that what the government has to do in the review, and a very important development which we expect to come in the coming days. Moving to the next news article, guys, on the screen, Russia has bombed the port city of Odessa. Now Odessa is an important port city in Ukraine. Guys, you know that it has been almost 3 months of invasion of Ukraine by the Russian forces. The eastern part of Ukraine is under control of Russia. The Donbas region, which has Donetsk and the Luhansk cities, as you can see on the screen, the eastern part of Ukraine is already gone to Russia. Plus they are exploding Mariupol, which is also a port city here. Crimea was already gone in the year 2014, and the region that you see in green is Moldova, and in dark green you see is Transnistria. Now they both were the part of the erstwhile Soviet, and they got disintegrated from the Soviet with the disintegration or the collapse of the Soviet Union in the year 1991. They became independent nations, Moldova, Ukraine, and Transnistria proclaimed its independence from Moldova. Although it is not being recognized as a full-fledged sovereign state by United Nations, but it's a small region, and it is being alleged that Ukrainian forces are entering Transnistria, they are infiltrating Transnistria and killing the civilians there. Because Transnistria is an ally of Russia, and there was a referendum held in 1990s where the people voted in favor of Russia. So the people are Russians, they speak Russians, they favor Russian policies, and because of this reason Ukrainian infiltrators are entering into the borders of Transnistria and killing the civilians. As I just mentioned in my previous lectures, that Russia would not lose this opportunity of saving Transnistria and attacking Ukraine from the western side. It has done rightly so, taking the advantage of this situation. Russia has surrounded Odessa, as you can see on the screen, which is a very vital port city of Ukraine. And as you see, this area, this water body is called as Black Sea, right? And with the capture of Odessa, a port city in Ukraine, Russia would have all the southern region under its control and till Transnistria, right? So in this sense, Ukraine would be surrounded from south till east by Russian forces. Plus, it can post its warships. It can post its naval warships at Black Sea, and in this way, it can directly counter the NATO forces or the American warships in Black Sea. So this is a very calibrated move and calculated strategy by the Russian forces. The port city Odessa, guys, Odessa is very important and famous tourist destination. As you can see on the screen, a YouTube video which says that Odessa is Ukraine's best holiday destination. So Russia is actually, with this invasion of Ukraine, the Ukrainian economy has nosedived. Even Russia is because it's been more than 2.5 months, and its important military arsenals are getting depleted, and there is possibility that it may use deadly weapons which it have, because the other stock, the regular stock is already is reducing, right? So Odessa, which is the best holiday destination of Ukraine, an important port city, is under siege by Russian forces, and Black Sea, right? So this is a geopolitical, and as you can see, guys, this is latest from 4th of May 2022 from The Economist, a renowned journal, assessed as Russian controlled, right? So this area in pink is the Russian controlled region as of May 4th 2022. So every day, the developments are taking place, and in this way Russia pounds the vital port city of Odessa, targeting supply lines. Russian forces have fired 7 missiles at crucial Black Sea port of Odessa, and it has also used a very deadly missile, hypersonic. Hypersonic means which has speed greater than that of sound, right? Hypersonic air to surface missile, a deadly missile named Dagger or Kinzhal. So Dagger or Kinzhal hypersonic missile has been used by Russia over Odessa, and this is a pictorial representation of the destruction that has been inflicted by the Russian forces. Moving to the next news article, guys, you all know on the last Friday, the new army chief was being commissioned, is being given to the new person, General Manoj Pandey. The new army chief, General Manoj Pandey, and he was being instituted on last Friday, so very important development. And in the defense investiture ceremony, he was being conferred with PVSM or Param Vishisht Seva Medal. Param Vishisht Seva Medal, students, is the highest medal in peacetime. As you can see, it was constituted in the year 1960, and since then it has awarded in recognition to peacetime services of the most exceptional order, and may be awarded posthumously, right? So it may also be awarded posthumously. So always remember, students, that PVSM or Param Vishisht Seva Medal is awarded for the services in peacetime, right? That means not in the war time or not in the war zone, because for the war zone or the wartime services, there are different category of awards like the Paramveer Chakra, the Shaurya Chakra, so on and so forth. But for the peacetime services, PVSM or Param Vishisht Seva Medal is being conferred. Now you can see on the screen President Kovind. Now President, you guys all would be knowing that President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. That means only on the order of the President, the defense forces can conduct or wage war or can declare peace. So in this sense, President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and this is mentioned under Article 53 Clause 2. Very, very important, right? It has been asked in various examinations which article says that the President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Clause 2, right? Now you can see President Kovind, who would be actually completing his tenure in the month of July this year 2022, and new president would be, the presidential elections would be very soon conducted by the Election Commission of India, formed under Article 324, correct? So the presidential elections would also be held in the month of July 2022, and the new president is due for this position. And which ways, this defense investigator ceremony was being conducted, and the newly appointed Army Chief General Manoj Pandey was being conferred with Param Vishisht Seva Medal. I hope it is clear. Next news article, guys, developments from the world. Philippines has got its new president, and it is Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Guys, Philippines is an island country in Pacific Ocean, and its capital is Manila. You can see on the screen, it is very close to Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia and Laos. To the south it has Malaysia and Indonesia, right? And it also has some disputes, over the maritime territories and islands in the South China Sea. You all know about the disputes of the South China Sea, right? The Spratly Island, etc., where the countries like the Vietnam, Philippines have their claims over their islands, right? And in which ways, Philippines as a country has recently got its newly elected president, Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Marcos Jr., famously known as, and he is commonly referred as Bong Bong Marcos, BBM. So Bong Bong Marcos is the, more famous name for the Marcos Jr. Now this Jr. has its own story, right? So I'll explain it. Now Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is a son of a previous president, erstwhile president Ferdinand Marcos, who actually ran an authoritative regime. He ran an authoritative regime, and Marcos Jr. is the son of Marcos or Ferdinand Marcos, and his regime was being marked by rampant corruption, rule by decree, and civilian killings. Many, and he's also being known for kleptocracy, means where the wealth of the people are being amassed by the government, right? By the government, and there is rampant corruption. So he's the son of the Ferdinand Marcos, but then also he has won the election. The reason being the poverty in the country. Now Indonesia is suffering from rampant poverty, especially after COVID, and this was being seen as an opportunity by the son of Ferdinand Marcos. Although people say that it's a very crucial turn in the democratic development of the country, and it will deepen corruption and weaken democracy. At the same time, Marcos Jr. has promised to lead country out of poverty and destitution. Now Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is also commonly referred as Bong Bong, a common name for Marcos Jr. He had secured over 56% votes and more than double the tally of his nearest rival. Now on the right you see the lady, the running mate, Sara Duterte. She is Sara Duterte, and this fellow is Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who is the newly elected president of Philippines. Now Sara Duterte is a daughter of the erstwhile president of Philippines, President Rodrigo Duterte. Now President Rodrigo Duterte's regime was actually full of authoritarian rule and rampant corruption, and his daughter Sara Duterte is the running mate of Marcos Jr., and the running mate in the politics of Philippines is actually being declared as the vice president. Now they both are the prodigies of the political leaders, and their parents were definitely being infamous for corruption, for all the havoc that they inflicted on the economy of the country. But then also they are being elected, right? So Ferdinand Bang Bong Marcos Jr. is being elected as the new president of Philippines, and the daughter of the erstwhile president Rodrigo Duterte, that is Sara Duterte, is being elected as the vice president of the country through parallel voting. Now guys, Marcos Sr., the father of the newly elected president, was a kleptocratic leader which was known for the rampant corruption in the country, and in the year 1986 he was being sent to exile, and there was a famous revolution which took place in the country of Philippines, and it was by name People Power Revolution. Very important, People Power Revolution in the year 1986, which led to the overthrow of the government of Marcos Sr. Now, despite he is an Oxford graduate. I'm talking about the newly elected president, the Marcos Jr., Bang Bong Marcos Jr. He's Oxford graduate, and he has a jet set lifestyle, and Mr. Marcos was able to actually tap into the both anti-elite anger and economic malaise. So very important development, guys, and expect a question on this. They may put a blank in the passage asking you that who has won the recently held presidential elections in Philippines. So the answer is Marcos Jr., Ferdinand Marcos Jr., Bang Bang Jr. Right. As you can see on the screen, his pictorial depiction is Ferdinand Ramaldes Marcos Jr. I hope it is clear. Moving to the next news article, guys. On 7th of May, the country celebrated the birth anniversary, in fact 161st birth anniversary of a great poet, visionary, and nationalist Rabindranath Tagore. Now, he was born in the year 1861 on 7th of May and was popularly known as Gurudev. He was the son of Debendranath Tagore, who himself was an educationalist. And Debendranath Tagore, founded Shanti Niketan. And today Shanti Niketan is an education city in Bengal. Now, he was born in affluent class Bengali family, was a writer, poet, painter, philosopher, visionary, social reformer, and just at the age of 16, he penned down a poem, a very famous poem named Bhanu Simha, very famous poem. So they may ask you that what is the name of the famous poem edited by Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore? So it's Bhanu Simha. And as I said that he himself, Rabindranath Tagore also worked for the education betterment, and his conceptualization of education was different from that of Gandhi, because Gandhi didn't favor English education to be incorporated in Indian education system. Gandhi was more keen on the practical approach of education, where people learn the skill set not in the books but in the field. On the other hand, Rabindranath Tagore borrowed all the good ideas or best principles from the Western education system and incorporated in India. At the same time, he also kept intact the Indian Vedic texts and the education system, right? So in this sense, he was the founding member of a unique education system institution called as Vishwa Bharati, and today it is, mind you, a central university in Bengal at Shanti Niketan. Now here the students were being trained in the proximity of nature, right? They were being trained in the proximity of nature, and they were being trained in the Western ideas, liberal ideas of equality, liberty, fraternity. They were being trained in mathematics and Western sciences. At the same time, they were also being taught the basics of the Vedic principles. He also stressed on the English as a part of education system, right? So he was the founding member of Vishwa Bharati, which is now a central university in Bengal. He was also spoken at World Parliament of Religion, World Parliament for Religions, in the year 1929 and 1937. As you all would be knowing that even Swami Vivekananda also has spoken at World Parliament of Religions at Chicago. So here is the pic of the great thinker Rabindranath Tagore. His birth anniversary on 7th May, 161st birth anniversary. Now he is also being credited to author the national anthem of India and Bangladesh. So the national anthem of our country, Jan Gan Man, and that of Bangladesh is Amar Sonar Bangla, My Golden Bangladesh, or Bangla, was being composed by Rabindranath Tagore. And a very important fact that he was the first Indian to be conferred with Nobel Prize in Literature. So he was the first Indian recipient of Nobel Prize. He was conferred in literature for his famous novel Gitanjali in the year 1913. So guys, a very important fact that you must keep in mind that he was the first Nobel Prize recipient in India and in fact Asia, and he got in literature as a field for his famous novel Gitanjali in the year 1913. Well, you all would be knowing that post the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in the year 1919, he actually gave up the knighthood. Now, knighthood is a position, is an honor which is being given to the people who have excelled in various fields. So he actually renounced his knighthood post the Amritsar or Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Now, yesterday I was reading an article where Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, was saying that the Nobel Prize of Rabindranath Tagore is missing, and it has been missing for many years. And she has also requested CBI to actually, do inquiry about the Nobel Award, the Nobel Prize in Literature that he received in the year 1913. So it is still, it's missing. There is no clue where it is. Sadly, it is very sad to actually learn this fact that the first recipient of Nobel Prize in India, Rabindranath Tagore, his prize is not there with the government. And CBI is actually being tasked to inquire about the same. Now, he was upset by the Jallianwala Bagh massacre and gave up or renounced the knighthood, the highest honor by the British Raj, and he was being given knighthood by Lord Hardinge in the year 1915. In protest of violent Amritsar massacre. Now, he also wrote the song Banglar Mati Banglar Jol. That means soil of Bengal, water of Bengal, to unite the Bengali population after the Bengal partition of the year 1905. And today's national anthem of Bangladesh, Amar Sonar Bangla, was being first composed by Rabindranath Tagore. He believed, he never fully supported or agreed with Gandhi and his non-cooperation movement, because the methods that were being used by Gandhi were extra-constitutional. Gandhi believed in mass protest, mass rebellion, satyagraha, non-cooperation, civil disobedience, hartals, asking the students to leave their schools and colleges, asking the lawyers to give up their practices in the courts, asking the Legislative Assembly members to leave their membership from the provincial legislative councils and central legislative assemblies. So it was definitely extra-constitutional mass struggle, whereas Tagore believed in constitutional agitation. In fact, he also stressed on social transformation. Tagore believed that political independence is just a means to achieve the larger end, and the larger end is socio-moral transformation, the moral regeneration of the society, and political independence is just a means to achieve that end. He believed that British rule in India is just a symptom of the overall sickness of the social disease of the public. So the disease is among the public that has to be cured. He also started Rakhi Utsav, guys, to actually, ensure Hindu-Muslim unity. At the same time, as I said, that he always stressed on incorporation of the best aspects of Western culture into the best of the Indian culture. And freedom for him was actually meant the ability to be truthful and honest with oneself. Otherwise, the autonomy loses all its worth, right? So he always believed in to be truthful with oneself, to be honest with oneself. Right? So he stressed on moral regeneration. Correct. So guys, moving to the next news article, Pulitzer Prize. Now recently, the team of 4 Indian photographers from Reuters news agency in America are being conferred with Pulitzer Prize. Now this award is being given for those who have, for the outstanding public service and achievement in American journalism, letters and music. So those who have, done outstanding public service and achievement in American journalism, letters and music are being conferred with Pulitzer Prize. So in journalism, in letters and music, outstanding public services. Now 4 Indian photographers from Reuters news agency, they are photojournalists: Danish Siddiqui, Adnan Abidi, Sana Irshad Matto and Amit Dave. Now these 4 photojournalists at Reuters America have won the 2022 Pulitzer Prize for feature photography for their coverage of COVID-19 crisis in India. So very, very important, students. Please mark these names: Adnan Abidi, Danish Siddiqui, Sana Irshad Matto and Amit Dave, being awarded with Pulitzer Prize 2022. Now this award was being established in the year 1917 and is administered by Columbia University and Pulitzer Prize Board. Each winner receives a certificate and $15,000 cash award. And the winner in the public service category is awarded a gold medal. Right. So guys, these are the names of the Indians who have been previously conferred with Pulitzer Award or Pulitzer Prize. In the year 1937, Govind Bihari became the first Indian to win Pulitzer Prize for journalism in 1937. So Govind Bihari was the first Indian to actually receive Pulitzer Award. Then second was Jhumpa Lahiri, third was Geeta Anand, fourth Siddharth Mukherjee, and fifth Sanghamitra Kalita. So these are the 5 personalities who are being conferred with the Pulitzer Prizes in the past: Govind Bihari, Jhumpa Lahiri, Geeta Anand, Siddharth Mukherjee and Sanghamitra Kalita. I hope it is clear. Alright guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this session. Now press the bell icon for the regular updates. Please like, comment and share with your friends, and feel free to post any comment, any question in the comment section. That's all for today. God bless you. Good day. Goodbye.